Thank you. Um, Greetings from Boise, Idaho in the car. This is Mom Life, but I am so excited to be here tonight and have just this time together with this gold and above call. Um, it sounds like we've got a couple new golds. So in the chat, go ahead and put if you are brand new here, if you just went gold last month. And also, if this is not something that like you feel uncomfortable with, if you've not earned this call in a while, but you earned it last month, I would love for you to shout yourself out too. That re-rank is a huge deal. And we're so glad to have you guys on. You guys are awesome. Look at all these people. So glad. Welcome, you guys. So our goal with this type of call is just a little higher level training. You've got 3 diamond teams that come together every month. And this is just a way to like celebrate you, reward you, kind of this exclusive training call. And so for the past 3 months, we were working on the first pillar of our business, and that is recruiting. And so we did that the last 3 months. The next couple of months, we're going to be working on the second pillar, which is on retaining. And then we're going to go into duplication, and then we're going to go into leadership. And so we know that with this business is simple. And I really like the idea of us having 4 pillars we really need to work on because that's not overwhelming. You have 4 areas that you really need to grow in. And so as diamond leaders, that is our goal for the next year, is to just really pour into you guys and to give training, to give tangible tips, to call out different team members who do these different pillars really well and learn from one another. So tonight we are going to be introducing retention, the pillar of retention. Unmute yourself if you feel bold. Unmute yourself and tell me, what is retention?
I'll go. Keeping happy customers coming back like month to month.
That's right. We're retaining our people. And this is a pillar that I think we don't focus on enough because it's kind of scary. I feel like there's some lies behind retention that I would tell myself. And so I think that it's important for us to call those out. So my question would be like, what are some lies that we believe about retention? So for me, it would be like, I'm not really great troubleshooting. I don't really like know the best thing to do with the product. So I'm just not really good at retention. So I'm just not going to do it. What are some lies or some excuses that we tell ourselves about retention?
For me, it's that I think they don't really want to talk to me. They don't want my help. And some people don't, but I think the majority of people do. So I think that's a lie that I believe.
Who else?
I'm being annoying by reaching out and making sure, like checking in with them.
Who else? Anybody have the idea of like, I'm really scared to reach out because I'm afraid they may not be having great results. And I don't want to have them tell me that they want to cancel their next orders, because that's definitely something that I felt. Okay, I see a few of you shaking your head. Who else? Anybody else?
I just unmuted myself to say exactly that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I think about Plexus is super, super special, like a marketing thing, a marketing tool that we use. I don't know if tool is the right word, but a way that we market our supplements is that the supplements are amazing. But not only do you get amazing supplements, you also get that like coaching that you don't get from a big box store. So when you buy supplements from me, you're going to have me who's going to get in touch with you, and I'm going to help you, and I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to help you with your specific regimen. Like that is a beautiful gift that we have with this business. And so the thing too about retention is, some of you guys have heard this analogy before, but like think about a bathtub. When you turn that water faucet on, that's kind of like you're recruiting. Like that water faucet is the people that you've just recruited. Well, if you don't have a good retention system, a lot of times you're going to have that tub that just has an open drain. And so it's going to cause burnout. You're going to have people who are in and out really fast because you're not retaining people. And so I want to like tread lightly here because this is an area that I think a lot of people get really nervous about. But I think that this is something that we can do and we should do well and with excellence. So there's a really, really great podcast that I listen to a lot. It's the John Maxwell Executive or like Leadership Executive podcast. And one of the things that these two gentlemen talk about all the time about your client or your customer is that these people are asking three things about you. The first thing they're asking is, can she help me? Second thing is, does she care about me? And the third thing is, can I trust her? And I think they talk about that all the time. Those three questions. Can she help me? Does she care about me? And can I trust her? I think those are really important questions for us to remind ourselves of, because these people are coming and they are trusting us. They're trusting us with their money. They're trusting us with their time. And I think it was Kim. I didn't see who it was, but I think that was Kim that said, like, I'm afraid they don't want to hear from me. Well, I think that that's like what they're paying for. They're paying for us to help them. They're paying for us to take good care of them. And so I think that we need to keep that in mind. And one of the things that Genevieve Scory has said that has stayed with me for years is she says, retention is what? Who knows what it is? Retention is what? Unmute yourself. Carrie, you're smiling. What is it?
Relationship.
That's right. That's what Genevieve says. And so if you want to have a strong business, you've got to really be aware of taking good care of your customers. And the thing that we're going to talk about tonight is that it's not one set way. Like Jordan takes care of her customers in a different way than I take care of my customers, but we're both diamonds. So there's not like a set way. And I don't want anybody to walk out of this feeling overwhelmed. I want everybody to walk out of this understanding the importance of retention, understanding those lies that you tell yourself and that they're actually lies and that they are hurting your business. And I don't want anybody to be in this business where they feel burned out, where they feel like they are just on a hamster wheel. And I believe that that's where retention really plays a strong role. So in that podcast that I was telling you guys about, when I'm not speaking, I will put the link of it into the chat so you guys can listen to it. It's really good. I highly recommend you guys listen to it. But in one of the podcast episodes, they brought on, thank you, Kara, they brought on this guy that kind of helped Chick-fil-A go from a one restaurant in a mall to what it is now. His name's Scott, like Wazowski or something. And so they bring this guy Scott in. And he has written a book over legacy businesses. And he gives us these five, like kind of like parts of the engine is what he calls them. 5 parts of the engine to create a legacy business. I'm going to tell you guys these real fast, but I'm only going to focus on 2 of them. So if you want to write them down, I recommend it. The 5-part system of a legacy business is customer insight, operational excellence. And if you don't get these, if I go too fast, I'll put them in the chat. Personalized service, memorable moments, and healthy leadership team. And so tonight we're going to focus on the customer insight, or my portion. I'm focusing on that customer insight and operational excellence that he talks about that will create a legacy business. With the customer insight, he's basically saying here, he says, the more you understand about what's going on with your customers, the more efficient and effective every part of your business can be. Do you hear that? Like the more you understand what they're wanting, what their goals are, who they are, the more effective and efficient your business is going to be. But then the opposite, he says, the less insight you have, the more inefficient that your business is going to be. Without insight, you're left to guessing. Like you're just left to guessing what your customer wants. You're left to guessing what they need. And he says, and with that, oftentimes you're going to be wasting your time. You're going to be wasting your resources, and you're going to be wasting your money if you're guessing, because it could be wrong. And so he talks about how important it is for us to understand our customer. And you guys can listen to the podcast, but he gives some different examples. Like get creative there. Like you can do forms. You can do like a Google survey. You can get creative to learn more about your customer. And I love that about Plexus is that we're constantly talking about ask them questions, get to know them. And this goes back into those 3 questions that your potential customers ask. Can she help me? Does she care about me? And can I trust her? Because when you're asking questions and you're learning about them, that shows that you care about them. The second part of that legacy business is operational excellence. He says here, if you don't get this right, nothing else matters. And so, Kara, I'm going to have you play like a 2-minute blurb. You guys be listening to this. I'm going to mute myself. But Kara, if you'll play that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so this fuel feeds in and there's three
Can y'all
big
hear
gears.
that?
If you want to visualize it, this one's the biggest and then two little gears. So this is the heart of the deal. But man, Chris, this is not where most people expect me to go, right? Customer experience, raving fans. We're going to talk about parties and handwritten notes. And yeah, we'll get to all that. The first most critical thing you have to do is show up with operational excellence. I mean, get the fundamentals right. And the mistake most people make in this is we start thinking about how good we can be. I mean, I do this. Our instinct is like, well, how good's my team? How good's my software? We have really unique content, right? Yay, that's nice. But that's not really what your customers are asking. They're not asking how good can you be. The question they're asking is, can I trust you? Can I trust you? Will you be there when I count on it? Will you? And so actually, let me, warning, I'm about to pick on McDonald's. I actually don't dislike McDonald's. They're a good business. I will probably always enjoy a Big Mac. It tastes like childhood to me, right? I mean, there's something like childhood. I love McDonald's. But man, they're easy to pick on when it comes to operational excellence. Yeah. And it's because they're like, you can't count on them. It's sloppy. Here's the thing. I've got friends who've worked at the headquarters. They're great people. They're smart. And they'll say, honestly, it's not fair, right? We're not always bad. And they're not wrong. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever gotten lucky and gotten McDonald's fries when they just happened to come out, right? You just the timing, the fresh batch hit right when it was your turn. I mean, no offense to my friends at Chick-fil-A, but dang, McDonald's might have the best fries in the business.
Yes.
It's not that they're never good. It's that they're inconsistently good. See, it's not that they never have good fries. And that's what we're like, oh, and my fries can be awesome. No, it's that I don't trust them because I've also gotten unlucky and the fries have been sitting there for 30 minutes and they're cold and chewy. And so this is the big idea of operational excellence. This is the hard truth. It's that being inconsistently excellent earns you the same amount of trust as being consistently bad. You don't get partial trust for partial excellence. They either count on you or they don't. And so this is the tragedy of McDonald's, is they're not bad even most of the time. I would say the majority of the time, McDonald's is okay, but they're just bad enough that we've lost trust. And because of that, now we think they're all bad. So operational excellence, if you don't get this right, nothing else matters. Right? We say this is first in sequence and in priority. Show up with excellence, do the hard work, get the fundamentals down tight. I mean, some of why we love Buc-ee's, right, is because.
Thank you, Kara. I would assume that this stood out to every single one of you because I played this with my Jules, and this was the quote that stood out to every single one of us too. When he says, being inconsistently excellent earns you the same amount of trust as being consistently bad. You don't get partial trust for partial excellence. They either trust you or they don't. This is the tragedy of inconsistent leaders. And so I think we can hear that. And we can definitely put that with every part of our business. And you guys, we talk all the time about how important consistency is. Now, that's not saying perfection, and doing it in an excellent way is also not saying you've got to have this perfect system. It's saying you've got to show up consistently. And when you show up, you do it excellently. You put in your hard work, you get those fundamentals down. And so again, that can go to any part of our business. But tonight, specifically talking through the retention, approach what you're doing with your customer care and retaining your people with excellence. Have this operational excellence where you are taking good care of your people. And so a few of the things, we're going to just kind of fly through this. A few of the things that I have done, and again, it's not perfect. And I'm constantly like trying to figure things out and figure out what works for me with my customer care as my customers have grown over the years. So some of the things that I've done to build trust, to have some solid customer care, which then transfers to retention and then business builders, is lots and lots of communication. Like we talked about a minute ago, like asking my people lots of questions and hearing them. One of the things that he says in this podcast is that now more than ever, people want to feel seen and people want to feel heard. And I love that we get paid to do that, you guys. Like, that's our job, is to love on people, to see people, and to hear their needs. And so I'm communicating a lot. I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm really trying to get to know my customers or my potentials and what they need, what they want. I also try to communicate really well after signing them up. So one of the things that Emily Gibson talked about when I first started was that she gets her calendar out and she'll sign somebody and then she'll put their name in her calendar every single week. And so when she goes to her calendar, she knows who she needs to follow up with. And she has like this troubleshooting calendar that she uses. And so I kind of like try to do that with my own flair, with my own language. So making sure I'm communicating well, and not, this is what I would do. I used to like, okay, I didn't have anybody spoon feeding me and I really like the products and then I wanted to do the business. And so I hope that that can be the case where I just get somebody signed up with the products and then they just love the products and then they want to come and they want to do the business and they're going to be my next jewel. I don't know if that's ever actually happened in my 7 years of doing this. And so that's not a great strategy. And so making sure you're communicating well has been really important for me. A tangible thing is after I sign my people, I have my assistant send a $6 frother from Amazon to them with a little note that just says, you know, hey, thank you so much for letting me help you with this. I'm so excited for you and your Plexus journey. Enjoy this little gift of, you know, token of appreciation from me to you. So I do that with every single level one that I sign up. Again, it's $6 and I'm already making what, $32, $36 on their order with the BBB and with the pay point. So it's totally worth that. And I've had so many people say how much they really appreciate that little gift. And again, that's just like building that trust and showing I care about them. Checking in with them weekly. I started up a customer chat back in November, and I feel like it's good. It's not like thriving, but I feel like that's been fun. It's kind of creating some community. Trisha Rager has a lot of different videos on Zoom. If you're interested in a customer chat, you can go her way. You can, and you figure out what works for you, but I've been doing that. And then lastly, one of the things that I try to do too is just a personalized send, where I try to, for my customers that have ordered in that year, I'll try to send them like a little $5 coffee card in the summer with a handwritten note. And then at Christmas, I send all of my customers just a small thank you gift. And so those are just a few things that I've done. I'm going to pass this off to Kanya so she can share a little bit of what she's done.
Hey everyone, I'm Kanya Carlson, and I have been with Plexus for a long time. So I'm going to share with you why I dug deeper and created a customer care system of sorts. I'm going to talk less about what I do in the customer care system, but why having some kind of system is important. And I'm just going to reiterate one thing. I firmly believe that customer care is 1,000% tied to retention. I've personally seen that in my business, and not having a customer care system or a checklist, I believe has been a problem with my personal retention. When I'm looking at my points and why they weren't staying consistent, but I was signing the people, I think for so long, I flew by the seat of my pants with customer care. I faked it till I made it, you know, the whole thing. And I think that's just not going to cut it. Now, don't get me wrong. There were a lot of resources at my fingertips. And I'd even had systems handed down to me that people used and they were tried and true. But when I tried to implement them, they just didn't work. And I think the reason for that is I had no buy-in into those systems. I had no time invested in them. I didn't even take the time to read through the whole thing to know if I liked what they were sharing, if I liked the messages that were being shared. Did they sound like me? Therefore, I needed everything that I passed down to sound like me, because here's the deal. People trusted me because of how I am. And so I need everything to be authentic and true to how I pass on information. So I am happy to share what I've created and pass it along. And if you have a system that's passed on to you, here's what I want you to hear me say. You need to read through every single thing. You need to copy and paste it into your notes, into boards, or whatever method you use for sharing, and double check the graphics, double check the videos. You need to know what is being talked about across the board and make sure you like what is being said. It will also create a renewed excitement in you, because I honestly haven't been this excited about customer care in a really long time, because it was something that I did not feel confident in. And so customer care should feel like that. There is time that needs to be put into this, because in the long run, it's truly going to simplify things. And this can be something that is duplicatable, because then you can pass it along to your new silvers when they care for their people. And then that is a system, and that's the norm that is for your team. If you don't have a system, is all lost? No, there's no time like the present. So take whatever your team uses, ask people that you respect what they use, what customer care system they use. Do you use a guide? Do you use a checklist? And ask if they care to share it, because here's what I did. I asked probably 5 to 6 people, what do you use? And then I married it into something that I am proud of. I have amazing information. I have a great timeline that I think is spot on for keeping people trucking along in their health journey. I will reiterate what Emily said. There is no wrong way. There is no right way. There is not one way to do this. So in short, getting a customer care system in place is going to streamline things and making it simpler for your newbies that sign up. This can be duplicatable for their people, and all the graphics and messages feel like you. Because guess what? If you have someone that signs up today, they decide to run with the business, they aren't going to know a thing about customer care. They probably barely know anything about the products themselves. And ultimately, you want something that's going to create confidence in you and your people and your team so that they can retain their people. Confidence is contagious and it speaks volumes. Someone confidently speaking, or in this case, messaging about a topic versus someone who's seemingly unsure are going to come across 2 different ways. I think the reason I'm also excited is because having this customer care in place, I can see the value it's going to provide for someone new, because chances are they're still skeptical even though they purchased. The info is something that I feel is going to make them feel like they're part of something bigger. They're going to learn how their body works. Why do we supplement at all? Why do you keep your subscription on? What does that even mean? Perk points. The list goes on of things that need to be introduced to someone new, and it can feel overwhelming to them. So we need a way to introduce it to where it feels like it's exciting, it's new, and it's fun. We're no strangers to signing up people, but we need to retain them. Confession. I can't tell you the amount of times that not having a customer care system caused me to let things fall through the cracks. The amount of times I didn't mention perk points, bliss. Poor people lost out on free goodies because I didn't do my due diligence in checking in on them. You also need to learn how you operate. I have learned that I'm going to need a lot of checkpoints. So I have a note section with a lot of folders, and every single message to copy and paste, every link, every post I want to tag them in. I also have a customer care checklist that has all the major touch points that I can check off and make sure each individual person has been told certain information that I found valuable. And then I also do the calendar thing. I put them in my calendar. So no matter how I'm working in the nooks and crannies, intentional hours, whatever it looks like, I have several ways that I can do that. So if I'm in my car, I can pull up my phone notes. If I'm sitting at my desk, I can pull up my calendar and my customer care checklist. No matter how you do it, if you're an Excel spreadsheet girl, do that and do what works. If you like Google Docs and you're a Canva queen, use what you know. But here's what I'll end you with. Whatever you do, make sure you are caring for the people that have entrusted you to care for them in this way. And this will create retention, because people that are cared for, they stick around. I'm going to pass it off to Kara, and she's going to wrap us up.
Anya, that was so good. That was so good. We went to a wedding last Monday together, and she was in the back. I was driving. She was in the back, and she was working on her customer care system. So she was pumped about this. And I'm really excited to see just the growth that you're going to have from implementing this. So I'm pumped about it for you.
I think she probably regrets telling us that she did the customer care.
Yeah.
'Cause we're like, oh, you did? Well, you need
Oh.
to come onto the retention call.
Exactly. Okay, so I just have a few little notes here. I'm not going to go into my system of what I do, because it doesn't really matter what you do. It's that you do it, right? And so there are tons of different things. I think I have done a couple of calls. If you like scroll through Emily's YouTube, like I've done a couple of customer care calls. My name is Kara, and so you can read through those, and I've like gone through exactly like, oh, send this message and things like that. I'm not going to do that tonight. But one thing I do want to talk about is 3 different things. The first one is that you need to set expectations when you sign them. I know that it's really easy, especially for like earning a walking pad or earning a watch, where you're just like, I want the sign, I want that so that I can get that. But like, I personally don't sign people unless they commit 90 days to me. Like, I just don't. And if that's for them too, like, I don't want them to waste their money on something that they just want to try for a couple of weeks. And so I really strongly encourage them to commit 60, 90 days. So I'm setting that expectation up. from the very beginning that they're going to continue to order so that they can have results. And I tell people like, I notice changes in 2 weeks, but a lot of, you might be the person that doesn't notice anything until week 7. And we just don't know that. And so I want you to have a really great experience. And so can you commit to this and kind of really building that belief that these products do take time. They are not a quick fix. And like, I just need them to be consistent, patient, and open to tweaking products with me, kind of establishing those expectations. This is something that I do that I don't think is very common, but something that my team I've coached to do is I send subscription reminders every single month to all of my level ones. And it doesn't take a lot of time. At the end of the month, usually like the 29th, 30th, or something like that, I will scroll through I will sort my subscriptions in my level 1 tab in the virtual office, and I will write their names down on my calendar. And I'll say, okay, this person, her subscription is on the 3rd, this person 4th, this person 4th, this person 4th. And so I will write them down. And so when I sit down to work, I look at that first and I say, oh, I need to send these 4 people their subscription reminders. And this is a really, really good connection piece for people. Like, obviously you want to do that in the beginning, obviously, but I still do this for people that have been around 8 months, 12 months, a year and a half, like 2 years. I still do that. Now, if I've sent like 6 in a row and they haven't like responded, I may like skip a month or 2 or something like that. But Jessica, it changes on like how long, based on, I have Mondays and Thursdays are my customer care days because my kids are in school at KDO. And so I know for sure I'm going to sit down and do some work. So like, I'll look and see like, okay, I'm going to do everything that's Wednesday to Sunday on Monday, or we're about to have a baby in a couple of weeks. So I like did all of the rest of April today because I was like, it's a little early, but we're prepping just in case we have baby early. Like, I just want to make sure I get that out to you. So I'm sending those reminders because I know for me, there are times when my order goes through and I'm like, dang it, I forgot to change that. I meant to order this and I didn't. And so I was like frustrated with myself, and I'm an Emerald. And so it's like, I know that that's not on their mind a lot of times. So this is a great touch point to say like, hey, also, have you seen, like, you're creating those conversations, you're building that relationship. And sometimes I'm like, hey, did you see that you could earn an Apple Watch? Like, or sometimes I had someone say, I was like, how are things going on your products? She's like a consistent customer, been here a whole year with me. And then she said something about like, oh, all of my migraines have gone away. And I was like, oh my goodness. And she didn't want to post that, but she wrote something up for me to post her story. And so just like creating that relationship there has been key. And that is one thing that I will continue to do forever, because I get so many texts like, thank you so much. This is another thing when you're helping with consistency, because sometimes people are struggling with consistency, and maybe their order is set to go out on the 12th, but they have like 2 weeks worth of product left. And if their order just goes out on the 12th, a lot of times people go right into that account and they cancel their sub, and then they forget to turn it back on. They never turn it back on. So what I've found is that if I say, hey, your subscription is set for the 12th, I know that consistency has been a problem. So what can we do in these next couple of weeks? And maybe we can push your subscription out to the 25th. And then that way you don't get this extra product that you don't need right now. And then I know like, hey, they are struggling with consistency. I need to follow up more. I need to write their name in my calendar a couple times over the next couple of weeks and things like that, so that it keeps them from turning their subscription off, and it keeps it on even if you like miss a month, right? So if they're like, yes, I have a whole month, can I push it back to next month? Yes, I don't get orders. I don't get paid on them that order that month because they don't have an order, but their subscription is on and I'm caring about them and not their order or their money. Does that make sense? Okay. That was number 2. Yes, they know that I'm for them and I'm building their trust, right? Because I'm not like, no, you need to order this right now. I'm trusting them, listening to them, and helping them along the way. Okay, and then number 3, plug into some community structure. I recently started a customer care chat also with just my level 1s. It's not super active, but I'm in there at least once a month telling them about the specials, or like when we had that buy one, get one free of the last chance. I was like, hey, by the way, if you want this, like I'm in there. And that way I'm plugging people into a place where they can ask questions, or maybe I'll run a little like, hey, let's do this little water intake challenge this week. And I'll give away a bag of Active or something like that. And so just another touch point to really just bring them in and kind of keep them in the know too. Okay, that's all that I have. We were gonna have some, do you want Emily to like open it up, or do we just want to end it here because it is 8:30 and so it is a 30-minute.
Maybe we can, does anybody have any questions or anything they want to share that has helped them with their retention or their customer care, kind of getting a better handle on that? Any questions or anything like that?
Perks are huge. And when I'm writing people's names down, if I know that they're like within their 3-month mark, like I'll say, hey, your subscription is coming up and you probably have enough perks points to like try that other thing that we were talking about. Like, let's see if we can get that. And I send them the perks video of how to add that. And so kind of reminding them about that too.
Yeah, Hunter, that's really important because people feel that like we're not working with a bunch of idiots. Like we're working with human souls who want to feel seen and want to feel loved and want to feel appreciated. And they can feel when it is points over people. So we hope that you walk away with some ideas and some inspiration to really like hone in on this pillar, because remember, there are 4 pillars. It's not a bazillion pillars. Like there are 4 pillars, and that means those 4 areas are really important to hone in on. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't feel like it needs to be perfect. Don't feel like yours needs to match up with Kanya's or Kara's or Jordan's. Like you do what's right for you, with the idea of how do I show my customers that I'm for them, that they can trust me, and that I care about them, because that's going to create that's what he talks about in that podcast. I really recommend you guys listen to it, but he talks about like you want your customers to love you because they're going to stick around. And how do you make them love you? By you loving them first. And this is what we get paid to do. And so we are problem solvers, and we don't need to become paralyzed or overwhelmed or push sweet things to the side because we've not been good at them before, or we have fears over them. Just lean into this, and one step at a time. This is the long game, but you start trying to just get a little bit better each day in this area. Thank you to Kanya. Thank you to Kara. Welcome to all the new people. We will be meeting the 3rd Thursday of next month, May, and then we are not going to be meeting in June because that is falling over convention. So make sure you guys are signed up for convention. Let's all get together and take a big golden above picture when we're all at convention together. Thank you guys again for being on. You guys are awesome. Bye, everyone.